Today, I'm going to show you how to stop sabotaging yourself and how to create a life that you actually love. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly the process that I used to go from broke, homeless, sick, and ready to give up to now running my own business, living in my dream home, and doing the work I absolutely love. And you'll be able to start the same process today. Welcome or welcome back. My name is Kristen, and I'm a transformational hypnotherapist and coach, showing you how to use your mind and your will to change your reality today. So here's the deal. What I found is that the harder I worked, the worse things actually got. Now, I know that's not the same for a lot of people, and that's what really screwed me up. I didn't understand if you work harder, if you push harder, if you do more, you get more. But for me, the harder that I pushed, the worse things got, not better. I literally thought that effort was the answer, but effort without alignment is actually destructive and not going to get you anywhere. And that may be why you're stuck too. You may be the kind of person who sees other people achieving something and you say, okay, I'm going to go to school. I'm going to get in this relationship. I'm going to do this thing. And you do it and it doesn't work out for you. And you go through your dark night of the soul or something. And you're like, I don't understand why nothing is working out for me when I'm doing everything the same way everybody else is. It's because you are not meant to be like everybody else. And I'm not just like pulling rainbows out of your butt. Like, you are not here for the mundane. You are not here to experience the same life as everyone else. You're here for something much, much more powerful. And your soul is calling you to get in alignment before you take action. And that is the only way that action is going to not only work, but baby, it's going to give you everything you've ever wanted. And if you don't believe in that, we're going to work on that. Not in this video, but we're going to work on that in this channel. You have to understand that it's not about luck. That's the first thing. If there's even a hint of that, when you look at others who are doing what they're supposed to do and getting ahead, it's not that they're lucky and you're not. It's not that they work harder than you do. But what it is the stories that they tell themselves and the stories that you tell yourself about yourself. Until you change those, you'll just keep repeating the same reality on a loop. You have to understand, this is one of the most important things that we all need to know, is that your reality is a mirror of your beliefs, period. Go ahead and grab a pen and write this down. Write down, what do I believe about myself? What do I believe about my life? What do I believe about life or success that might be keeping me stuck? Brainstorm. I had to face this when I was homeless. My son and I were living in a hotel and then a shelter, some period of time at a friend's house. When I finally realized that my life was a reflection, I was trying to get out of that situation. I was trying to work harder and do more, but doing is not the answer. Surprise! Doing is not the answer, unless you believe doing is the answer, but you've already tried it that way and that hasn't worked. So is that egg cracking for you a little bit? Are you open to the idea that maybe doing is not actually what works because I'm doing and it's not working? Or maybe you're just not good enough. Come on. You are everything. You are consciousness. You are the only you that exists. You are good enough and you are doing enough, but doing is not the answer. When I finally realized that my life wasn't a reflection of my effort, or that my circumstances was not a reflection of my effort, but of my beliefs, and more importantly, my vibration, that's when everything changed. Almost overnight. My awareness to this cracked the code. It cracked everything open. I didn't know that at the time. I can look back in hindsight and tell you that, and then come here and say, I've got the playbook. Let's go. What's in the playbook? It's very simple. To change your reality, you have to change how you think and how you feel. Dr. Joe Dispenza calls this brain-heart coherence. Here's what I want you to do. Every night, I want you to write down 3 things you're grateful for. But not like, I'm grateful for waking up today. No. Let's get out of elementary school and let's join the big boys. Thing 1, you were going through your day and you're collecting things in your mind. I suggest writing them down that you felt gratitude for. So let's say, for example, you saw a mother with her child and you thought, how beautiful that looks. And you would say, I'm grateful for seeing and maybe even experiencing blah, 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 whatever you saw, because why? Why? What did it make you feel? What makes you feel gratitude for this? Why? Why do you feel grateful for seeing this or experiencing this? Right? Why? It's when you're gratitude journaling that you get into the feeling state. Getting into the state is very important. You can find this in Neville Goddard's work. He actually talks about the state of knowing, but you can use the state of feeling as practice, as a bicycle to get onto your motorcycle, right? It's like, why do I feel gratitude for this? And elaborate on that. And while you're elaborate on it, feel the feelings, right? Feel the feelings of that gratitude. Don't stop writing until you feel it. Again, don't just think it, also feel it, because now you're creating the brain heart coherence using a gratitude journaling exercise. It's very, very simple, but extremely powerful, extremely effective very quickly. That's exactly what I did. At first, it was small things like grateful for no traffic on the way to work, or grateful that I have a job, or grateful that I have good friends. And I would go into it. Obviously, I would elaborate. But then it got to be where I'd already said everything. And I had this rule that I would never say anything twice. So I had to force myself to come up with new things. And so throughout my day, I would keep a notebook with me and I would write, oh, that's something to be grateful for. That's something that made me feel grateful today. And because you're doing this work, you're actually trying to find things. So now you are going throughout your day looking for things to be grateful for. It will change your life. Okay. The more I trained myself to feel gratitude, the more my vibration shifted. And when my vibration shifted, reality shifted with it. Now, I mentioned this next thing earlier, and it's about your story. If you don't know your story, if you haven't taken the time to define it or write it down, your past will keep writing it for you on default. You won't actually realize the shift has happened or how much control you actually have over your reality. So the next thing that I want you to do is I want you to create your story. Get a journal. If you can't afford a journal, get a notebook, a piece of paper, some junk mail on the back. Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. But you do want to write, because the reason why we use the writing tool, the reason why hypnotherapists and other kinds of therapists use journaling is because it is a direct communication tool with your subconscious mind. So it's very, very powerful. Okay. I want you to journal your future life in present tense. Does that make sense? As if you are in the future right now. Write things like, who are you? Where do you live? What do you do? Who are the characters in your life? Whatever else, anything that defines your life. And then I want you to write what it feels like. What sounds are you hearing? What smells are you smelling? I live in a 2-story colonial with my life partner and our children. And we have 3 children, a boy and 2 girls, and they're babies. And you can smell that smell of baby, and I can hear the coffee pot going off, and I can feel my husband's arms around me, or whatever you want, whatever reality you want to create. I am in a 13-story skyscraper in Manhattan, and I'm working in Wall Street or something, and I'm making $1 million a year. I don't really know anything about that life, so I can't tell you, but I drive this, and every morning I can smell my coffee in my hand, and I can hear the sound of my Porsche engine pulling around the corner, which is a really great sound, or I can see the skyscrapers as I drive through them and all the people and the hustle and bustle of the city. Get all of your senses engaged in this. It's called a sensory rich journey. And the reason why we do this is because your subconscious mind does not know the difference between reality and fantasy. It doesn't know the difference between something you're imagining. That's why when you over and over and over again again, imagine something terrible happen, something very terrible ends up happening. You don't get the exact replica of what you imagined. You get energetically what's most fitting for you when the manifestation occurs. And the manifestation is always on a delay, yada, yada. We're going to get into that in other videos, but it's important that you go on this sensory rich journey so you can teach your subconscious mind what reality really is. Okay. So who are you? Where do you live? What you're experiencing, like it's already happening, like it's already real. And sometimes you can even go into treating it as a memory, but we'll talk about that on another video. So I wrote down that I would be a hypnotherapist, that I was going to name my business Soul Therapy, that I'd live in Arizona and have a playful relationship with my son who would have a lot of friends and be really involved in sports and do really good in school, and that we would even have a dog. And I even pulled my son in and I said, hey, let's draw a dog. Like, let's create this dog that we want to have one day. And within 1 year to that date, I mean, exactly that date, every single thing I wrote was true already. I don't know when it came true. I just know that it was already true a year later, even the dog. And I didn't even realize that about the dog. 2 years later, we were moving from our first move to Arizona into our next place. And I was going through all of the stuff to like move. And I pull out this paper, construction paper, and there was a picture of a dog on it. And I looked over and I was like, holy shit, that's my dog. It was the same exact dog that I had gotten a year earlier. So the point is that you are not years away. You are just one new thought, one new feeling, one new story away from shifting everything. In the next video, I'm going to be breaking down the fastest way to get and stay in alignment with your new story so you can stop falling back into the old one. I'll see you on the next one.